just crafting around. Today we are going to be working on crates. I like crates. I love crates. In fact, I would be a crate woman. When I started to look for crates that I wanted to do something with, I went and looked for a crate that was sturdy. There were all kinds of crates out there, crates that are on sale, ones that aren't as sturdy as other ones. I did find the ones that I really liked at Joann's Fabrics in Bismarck. They were on sale. I paid $9.99 for these babies. They are unfinished, and I like them to be unfinished because I want to do my own thing. So these are the crates. This is the start of what a crate looks like. This is after I decided what I wanted to do with it. When I painted the crate, I painted the outside and I painted the inside. Again, preference. You can do what you wish. You can do how you want to do it. You want to do the look that you want to do. I like distressed. Therefore, I like to distress my stuff. What I did was I bought white chalk paint. As you can see here, I've already finished painting this just to save some time to show you what it looks like. It goes from this to this. I painted the outside of this first. I painted it twice. I let it dry overnight. Each time when you paint it, let it dry overnight until the next day. Gave it another coat. Again, I let it dry. I did the inside. I chose the colors to the colors that I like. Now, if I would be doing this for a kid's room, I probably wouldn't distress it. Maybe I would distress it, but I just wouldn't use the finish afterwards over the top of it, the varnish. What I did was, for this, I chose the green. It went from this to this color. Now, this color in the inside is different than the green in here. This was like a blue, a very light blue, but yet a bright blue. What I did was I took it, I distressed it, then I went and I took Minwax and I went over the top of it, and it turned out from this color to this color. I left the inside like this, and I went and found some embellishments that I like to put on here. I'm going to be showing you some different things that I've used. This is, I had somebody give me some old leather that they found. And this just so happens to be, and this is kind of a story in itself, this just so happens to be my husband's uncle leather that he had for his horses when he had a team of horses back in the day. So I cut the leather, and then I took it and I got some little tack nails and I tacked them to the sides of this. This also was a piece of leather that came from there. The buckle, of course, is rusted, which I love. And the leather I had to work with a little bit to get it so that it would bend. I put that on here. That finished out this crate. I wanted to do something else with the crates. What I did with this one is you can see, I painted it white. I painted the inside. This is actually a berry color. It's in between a red color and it's in between a burgundy color. Like I said, distressed it. I distressed the inside. I want to do the inside and the outside. Then I took the Minwax and I went over the top with it, and I'll show you what kind in the color that I used as we go along and we finish this one. I then decided that I wanted to stamp it. So I used a stamp and I went along and I put it on the front of this. This is actually one that I had purchased. I also decided I wanted the inside to look a little bit different. So what I did was I took some fabric, I cut out the fabric, I then took some strips and I glued the fabric, and then I glued it to the back, and I glued it in the inside of where the lats are, which the lats are in the inside of this one here. I glued the fabric to give it a little bit different look because I want to stack these. I also found some little end pieces. And these little end pieces, I found 8 of those, and I took them and I took my little tack nails and I nailed in the insides. I nailed in the inside here, and I put a tack on the inside here, on the outside here. So when I get done, I want to stack these in my house, and I want to arrange them with some different things, and I'll show you what I'm going to be using these for so you can kind of get a visual of it. So we started from this, we went to this, we went to this, and then we wanted to change it up a little bit. We put a stencil on here, we did the fabric on the back, we left this plain. I'm going to show you how I put the fabric on one of the other ones that I have done, and I will show you what I did to make it look plain, like this one right here. Bear with me while I get my supplies and stuff together, and then we'll get started.
Sign up for HD or DVR from Valley this month and receive 2 months free and free installation. Call us today at 437-2615. You don't want to miss out on this offer.
Okay, we've distressed this. We've used the wood finish penetrating stain. I used the dark walnut, so that's the color that I have chosen. Let it dry good. After I stain these, I let them dry for at least a couple days for the finish. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I take the material that I've chosen and put on here. What I did was, you have to make 2 templates. You have to make one for these 3 right here, and then one for the 2 outsides, because the outside ones aren't going to be as big that you can see, as wide I should say, is what these are right here, is what because we're just going to take it, there's nothing to wrap around here, so we want it to go to the edge. So in that case, I only did it to the edge. You don't have to stain, you don't have to paint the whole thing, because of course we're covering it up. How I did that was, lay this down, I measured, I cut my pieces, and then I took this heat and bond tape, because I don't sew. I don't have a sewing machine. So I use this heat and bond tape, which is really, really good stuff. It really holds, plus it makes the corners, the ends here firm, which is nice when you're trying to line it up very good. Now I can see this is one of my smaller ones, my smaller pieces. And of course, this here is my larger piece. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my smaller piece. Now, I'm not sure about the length because they're all different. When I go to measure them, they're all different. So what I did was I heat and bonded both sides, and then I heat and bonded one end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it in here, and I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to mark exactly, and I want it to go from end to end up here. And then I'm going to mark it, and then I'm going to finish that end with the heat and bond tape. So I'm going to take my material, I'm going to put it in the inside, and I know that this is my material for the top because it's the smaller one. And then I'm going to take an ink pen and I'm going to mark how far it needs to be. This is super easy. Anybody can do this. Now, if I would be doing this for a room, say for a child's room or something like that, I would want to just paint it and probably let it go. You can stack them, or you can hang them on the wall if you'd like and put different things in there, books in there, whatever you'd like. But because it's me, I'm going to do it my way. Okay, so now I have my marking. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it down. I have my iron. I'm going to iron across it so that the material gets warm. I've cut my heat and bond tape already to the length that I'm going to need. I'm going to take a strip of my bonding tape. Maybe a little bit wider, but you can cut it off. And then I am going to fold it where I made my line, because to me, I'm going to be hemming it. But instead of using thread and a needle, I'm using the tape. And again, this heat and bond tape, you can get in different lengths, in different widths. I actually am using the 3/8 by 10 yards. And this is, I picked this up at Walmart. You can pick it up at any craft place, Walmart, Target has it too, I've noticed. It's really good like for hemming stuff and when you're in a hurry. It doesn't take long at all for it to bond. I'm gonna let it cool a little bit. So you can see it's now bonded. It's really hot. And I'm gonna just snip off a little bit here so that's not kitty wonkus. and that it fits in there really good. Now, I wasn't sure what kind of glue to use for this because, again, I don't work with fabric that much. Usually I like to work with wood. The fabric glue that I use that is really, really super good is called Fabric Tack. It's premium fabric glue, and it does bond to leather and wood. So that is exactly what I'm looking for. Again, I picked this up at Walmart. And make sure that this fits good before I wrap it in, and it does. Like I said, works perfect when you do it that way. As you can see, it's laying in there pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that fabric glue and I'm going to run some glue on the corners here, and I'm going to run it down the side. If it oozes out a little bit, that's okay because you're going to be covering it with fabric in the back anyway. So let's take some of that glue. Takes just a little while for it to bond then, which is just fine. Again, what I used here is I used chalk paint, not chalkboard paint. Chalk paint is what I used. Okay. Take this in the inside. And again, I like the heat and bond because it's stiff. But you can see that it's so that when you lay it in there, you've got something to where you can move it. Okay, it takes a little bit for this glue to set up, so I'm going to keep pressing it over to the side, and I'm going to hold it down until the glue has set. It doesn't take long, but it takes a little while for it to set. And I don't want to push the fabric through without the sides and stuff already being set, because then it's just going to move my fabric and I don't want it to do that. The reason I just do the sides and I don't do the whole thing is because I don't want the glue to get bubbly or do anything like that. It's okay and it's strong enough if you just do the corner up here and then the back part of it right here. It holds good enough that way. Okay, I think it's ready. It feels like it's ready to go. Like I said, it doesn't take that long for it to set. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the remaining through the lat in the bottom here. And then I'm going to glue it on the back. So I'm pushing this through. And then I'm going to pull it tight in the back. But like I said, I'm going to wait just a little bit longer for the glue to set. Once I know that it's set real good here, again, pushing it in so that it stays good and taut. Don't want it to move. I'm going to go to the back and I'm going to pull it. I would let this set for probably 10-15 minutes. Once you know that it's good, that the glue has set and everything is good to go, then you can come back. And we're going to take it and we're going to pull it down this direction. So now, I know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put it on here and I'm going to put it as close to the edge as I can. So now I'm going to put the glue on the fabric versus on the wood once I pull it through here. I'm going to wear a glove here. I can pull this glue off. Now we're going to put it right on the fabric. And like I said, put it generously on the fabric, but put it towards the top of the seam. That's where you want it to glue. And then once you're done with that, hold it down for a little while. about 10 minutes or so before you release it so that you know it's good and it's going to stay good and tight. Okay. I'm going to pull the center first. By this time now, after you've let it dry in the inside, you should be able to pull it pretty tight. And then, like I said, make sure that your inside is still the way it should be, and it is. And now I'm going to take, and I'm going to hold this for a little while because I do push it down really tight and then hold it. If you don't push it down and you don't hold it and you don't allow it to dry, what's going to happen is it's going to come up and it's going to bubble on the other side. Not bubble, but your fabric is going to bunch up. And I want it as tight as possible. So we're just going to hold it for a little while.
Protect your investment with smart farm monitoring from Valley Telecommunications. Get video surveillance cameras for your home, shop, or barn. Sign up now and receive 5% off of Clear to Their cameras and 1 month free of off-site storage.
Valley Telecommunications, the home team advantage.
Now that we have that edge done, I'm going to show you one more, and that's going to be these here 3, but I'm going to show you how to do this one here. It's a little bit different because instead of having it all the way up, we're going to take it, put it in the middle, and then combine both sides. That's why we need this fabric that is a little bit wider. And like I said, I did it as a template because the lats are not the same. But I knew that the width I needed to be the same. So I just took a basic piece of paper, I put it in the inside to find out. I got it as close to the edges as what I could get, and then I cut out my template. From there, I just went and did one side, the 2 sides, and then I put it in the inside to see how long I needed it to be. So I cut out, when I went from the really flimsy kind of paper, I went and got a more cardstock kind of paper, something that was a little bit heavy that I could use to trace. Traced it on my fabric and was good to go. So the things that you're going to start to look for is you're going to look for the crate you want. You purchase the crate you want. You look for the color or colors that you want to use for in the crate. You purchase those. You can purchase the heat and bond, and like I said, you can purchase the glue. Look for the fabric that you want. If you don't want to do it with fabric, like I said, all a personal choice. Okay, now we're ready to start this one. Again, I'm going to go like this. I know I'm going to upside down my fabric like this because I'm going to write on it, trace on it. I am going to put it in the inside of the one that I'm going to be doing. It's all the way to the side, and now I got to see where I'm going to make my next, where I'm going to hem. So I see where I'm going to hem it. And now I'm going to take my ink pen and I'm going to mark where I'm going to need to hem this. Okay, I showed where it's going to be hemmed. I'm going to cut a piece of my heat and bond tape, which I always cut it just a little bit longer because you can always snip off the ends, or it will just melt on your iron. Like that happens to me sometimes too. Okay, so I'm going to find where my mark is. And it actually, the mark that I use is actually as wide as what this is. Generally it has been. So we'll put it where the mark is, fold it over, get my iron. What I forgot to do was kind of heat, make your fabric warm with your iron first where you're going to do this. Take your heat and bond, put it where you're going to, fold it under with your fabric, take your iron, move your fingers, take your iron and place your iron on here for a little while. It doesn't take long and the heat and bond will have bonded with the fabric. just run over it a couple times. I have mine set on cotton, is what I have mine set on, my iron. Okay, looks good to go to me. Now, I'm going to see what the middle part is here, because that's where I'm going to put the middle of this on the middle of the lap right here, because I want to join on the end both sides. They're going to overlap just a little bit, but not by much. Okay, I'm putting it up on both sides, and then while I'm doing that, I'm going to make sure that this and this goes back here, which it does. Looks good to me. So now we're going to take our glue, and again, we're going to glue this and this part right here. We're not going to glue anything else on this one, just this and this. The only reason why we glued on the bottom here is because this here is different. We had something to glue it to. So we're going to glue just the sides here. So take your glue, your Fabri-Tac, I do a pretty good amount on there. Be generous, because that's what it's tacking to. And you'll know what I mean once you get started. A lot of what I do is trial and error. I'm a big trial and error kind of a person. Get the one side started, move it to where it's got to be. Use your hand to get it nice and straight. Like I said, hold it there for a few minutes to let it dry. The deal about this is when you do each and every one of them, give it time to dry. Don't hurry it along or go too fast. Give it time to dry. Then, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through here, and I am going to put the fabric through the back. And this is my way of doing this. If you come up with a different way, go for it. This is just how I like to do it, and what I found worked best for me. I am not a crafter by trait, never have been. I do what I like to do again. That is probably the only time I can say it's all about me. Now, I'm going to take some of that. And as you can see, this is a little bit longer than this. I'm going to pull it down quite tautly. And then I'm going to glue the one side, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to glue the other. So again, the glue this time, instead of putting it on the wood, I'm going to put it on the fabric. And again, with it like the last time, I'm going to put it towards the top of the fabric. Getting towards the end of this glue, so it's kind of making a little bit of a mess. That's why I like the heat and bond too, because when I'm gluing it like this, it's got something to really, that's strong to adhere to. So now I'm going to pull this tight on this side, tack down the end really good. I don't want to pull too hard that I'm releasing it in the inside. So now we're going to hold this down. But I want to pull it tight enough to where the inside is tight. And I can see that it is. Perfect. Like I said, this glue is really, really awesome stuff. Okay, I see that my inside looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to overlap it a little bit with this next side. So again, glue on the fabric. towards the top as much as possible. If it oozes out a little bit, that's fine. It's clear, it dries clear. Or you can just wipe it away. And now, pull it tight. And hold it down. And it doesn't matter if it's a little uneven in the back. As you can see, my seam isn't straight, but it doesn't matter because you can either have this against the wall. I'm not going to put it to where you see the back. I am putting it to where you see the inside of it. So it's not so crucial. Plus, if you do see the back, what you're looking at is, I only painted the lats and stained them up to so far. You don't have to paint the whole thing because, like I said, you're going to be covering it anyway. If it would be something that you wouldn't be covering, I would do it then. And let's check our inside. Always check the insides. And we've got 2 lats accomplished. We've only got 3 more left to go.
Valley Telecommunications, the home team advantage.
Now, my favorite part about the crate process, distressing. What I did was I distressed this a little bit, but I want to show you my technique that I use. You can use any technique. With some of these, I actually used a grinder, an electric grinder, and used it. My favorite tools to use, you could use the basic hammer, which I've done. You can use, I've used an electric grinder, like I've said before, and I also use some files, different kinds. I've got 3 different kinds here, and I do use them all. Now, I de-stressed this here part. Again, I use the back of the hammer just to give it a little bit different look than what I have on some of them over there. I take and I round off the edges because these edges are pretty squared off. I round them off because I like to show the wear, and the wear is usually where things are squared. So if I would take the sandpaper, I do sand a little bit so that when some of the stuff sticks up, the wood sticks up, some of the filings, I like to sand them down. That's the only time that I actually use sandpaper. If I would sand this the whole way, it would take me forever to get any kind of the stress look that I like. So I use a couple different options. Now, when I'm done with it, I'm gonna wipe it off, and then I'm gonna look to see if I like it. It may need some more distressing as I go along. Actually, once I put on the Minwax, the finishing touch on this, the color part of it, you're pretty much so done, unless you want to go after it with a file again. I'm going to show you a little bit of what I do. The crate is a little bit harder because what I want to do is I want to get in the insides here, plus I want to get in the inside, and I want to show that it's had some wear. I also want to do it in the back part of it, but I'm just going to do it in the inside of the back part of it because I plan on putting it up against my wall like this. So you're not going to see the back part here, but what you are going to see is the sides. You might see the top, depends on where I put it, and you're going to see the insides, and you're going to see like right along here, and that's what I want to look distressed. So I have to do the bottoms. I want to do both the sides because I don't know which way I'm going to put it yet. If I put it like this, will I have something over here? I might not. So to take care of it all, I'm going to do everything except the back of this. So I have started a little bit, and like I said, what I do is I come along and I round off the sides, which is very, very easy with this. Depends again on how much you want to distress, if you want to distress at all. Have a fairly decent ventilated place that you have, because you wouldn't want to do this maybe in your living room or your dining room or your bedroom or whatever. I take it downstairs and actually work on it in my basement because I don't mind if the dust flies, because trust me, the dust is going to fly. So now back to taking off my edges. And when you do that, you're taking it down, and you're taking it down to the bare wood. So when you go to stain it, you're staining actually the bare wood, and it's going to look darker than what this here is when you've used the white chalk paint on here. Now again, I've tried different kinds of chalk paint that have worked for me. I am now into Valspire chalk paint. I do like their chalk paint. I think it works wonderfully. They have lots and lots of colors. And Valspire is usually sold by your local hardware stores, which is nice because then you can shop locally. I like to try different kinds now, but I try to use the same kind on the same project. So if I'm doing another project, I might try something else, but if I'm going to continue to do this, I'm going to continue to use the same product. I don't like to veer from that. And if I find a stain that I like, which I do, I try to use the same colored stain. And again, like I said, once you get done with this, you may find that you want to do something somewhere a little bit better. That's the other reason why I take a little bit of water with a damp rag, is you can take off some of the filings, the small fine filings. I do use a vacuum cleaner and vacuum everything out real good, but you can't get it all. It's impossible. And again, like I said, get the sides, get the edges that you like best. If you want it to look a little rougher, again, just take whatever you have, beat it up, doesn't matter. Take after it. I just use my chisel. Go like this. That's all you really have to do. This is the part that takes the longest about the crates if you're going to distress them at all. The distressing part is the part that takes the longest. To me, it's actually the funnest, especially if I've had a bad day. Now I'm going to go in the inside of it. Do the same thing in here. Where I put pressure on is where it's taking it off. And I like to put pressure on the top of it a little bit because I do want that to come off of here as well.
Valley Telecommunications is pleased to announce that our Technology Solutions Center is fully stocked and open for business. We have a large selection to meet your wants and needs. Some of the items we currently carry are a variety of corded and cordless phones, different brands of tablets such as Kindle Fires and Apple iPads and all the accessories for them, Telekin computers, Epson and HP printers and ink cartridges, Apple iPods and accessories, office supplies, wireless keyboards and mice, cellular phones and accessories, different types of media storage, cameras, headphones, power strips and surge protectors, and much, much more. You can also get your very own Valley swag. Our prices are reasonable and comparable to any other retail store. If there is something that you want or need that we do not currently carry, please let us know so that we can check into it for you. We accept all major credit cards, cash or check. Please feel free to stop by our office and check out our new and improved store for all of your technology and day-to-day business needs.
Okay, so what I've done is I have distressed this, and you can see the colors because I'm ready to stain. In fact, I have done some staining. So it's gone from this white to this right here. And the stain that I use is I use the Minwax, and I use the wood finish. It's called penetrating stain, and I use the dark walnut. So I'm just going to finish this up with a little bit of stain here now. I just take a foam brush, stain the lats. Got to remember that you have to go in between them, in between each lat. Make sure that you get everything covered nicely. You may have to use more than one foam brush. I'm on about my third brush now. And I'm sure everybody knows how to stain. Put on your heavy stain, let it set for a little bit, and then take a rag and wipe it off. I use the walnut because the walnut is the darker stain, and I like that color the best. I've tried different colors, but I actually like the walnut the best out of all of them. Depends, I guess, on what you're looking to achieve when you do this. There's so many different kinds of stains and stuff out there, so it's kind of what you're looking to achieve. So I did the bottom, I did the inside. I'll show you what the inside looks like here. It was deep, rich green, but you put some of this walnut stain on and it calms itself down. And that's the effect I'm looking for. Just take and wipe it off. Make sure you wipe. And then go back into the inside and look. Every time I do a lat, I go into the inside to make sure I don't have any runs or anything in there. So kind of go over a couple of them that I do find here. We went to a bright, bright green interior, and this is the green that we ended up with. A little bit more muted than what it was. Now, you can get some different embellishments if you'd like to put on here. What I'm going to do is I did find some corners that I'm going to take and put on here. And instead of nailing them, I'm just going to take some hot glue and run just a small bead of hot glue on there and put the corners on, and then we should be finished with the project. I will show you what I intend to do with them, how I'm going to stack them, what I'm going to put in there, and what it'll look like. So what I'm going to do, this is what I want to use the crates for. I want to stack them up against my wall, and I want to put in some things that I like that I have to kind of show off a little bit, but I want some uniqueness to the crates as well. What I found is I found some embellishments, and it's called spare parts. Spare parts is actually my favorite of all things to look for. I got 4 of these on sale. They were $3.99. I got them for half off. They were, again, got them at Hobby Lobby. What I'm going to do, you can take some little nails and you can nail these in, but instead of doing any nailing on the corner, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some hot glue. I'm just going to hot glue them on. I just want to give this a little bit of character, more character than what it has. So I'm going to put this to the corner of each one of them, and I'm going to hot glue it on. Like I said, just to give it a little extra character. Go to the next one. A little hot glue on each side. And then just kind of angle it into the corner. With hot glue, it dries pretty fast, so make sure that you get the angle that you're looking for. Once you place it, you've got a little bit of time to move it, but not much. Again, choose your colors that you want to use. Find out how many of the crates that you want to do, and then go shopping for your colors. If you want to do fabric, you can do fabric. If you don't want to do fabric, you certainly do not have to. Make it your own. Do what you want to do. Do what makes you happy. There we go. We got the last one of these on here. Looks like it's fairly set. It gives a little uniqueness and a little character. I don't like how that one was put on. So it's not sticking very good. So I'm going to add a little more hot glue to the top and to each one of the sides. And I was distressing. I took a little bit too much off one of the ends, one of the corners here. Distressing, sometimes you can get carried away with that. And here's what the crate looks like with the number 3 on it. Pretty simple. Like I said, you don't have to do a whole lot with with some things, but yet this gives it a little bit more character. So I'm going to add this to the top with this one. Probably angle them a little bit. Don't know. Have to wait till I get home and see what it looks like. But you have 3 different ones with a little bit of uniqueness in each one. You can put a picture in here. The last picture that we took in there. Can turn them in either way. You can do whatever you like with them. Thank you for tuning in to Just Crafting Around. If you have a talent and you'd like to share it with us, please give us a call at 437-2615 or ask for Lisa or Kelly, and we will buy the products for you and you can make your craft project. Again, if you have a talent and you'd like to be on the show, we certainly would love to have you. Thank you, and tune in again next time for Just Crafting Around.